Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a rant. A long one. I, like some of you, have been raiding since raids were introduced to Guild Wars 2. I've had some of the best experiences I've had in any game thanks to raids, and I absolutely love them. However, I've noticed a depressing trend amongst my fellow raiders and the raiding community as a whole. What I'm about to rant about certainly doesn't apply to everyone, but at least in many of the raid groups I've been a part of, once everyone has gotten the rewards the raid has to offer, enough ascended gear to fund 3 accounts worth of characters, more magnetite shards than you ever know what to spend them on, enough LIs to make 50 sets of legendary armor, the game becomes more about faster kill speeds, or morphs into an almost entirely social experience, where mechanics and rotations fall to the wayside in favor of banter. None of these things are bad in their own right, they just aren't the reasons I personally enjoy raiding. It's great to have people enjoying each other's company, and it's cool that people want to improve to be the best they can be, but to me, the fun of raiding is that you can approach each encounter like a puzzle to be solved. How do we beat this guy? What does this mechanic do? What can we do to counteract it? There are so many choices and builds that can beat a raid and beat it soundly. Why aren't there more people coming up with interesting strategies, or accepting off-meta builds into their groups? I'm the sort of guy that liked playing Sealed Deck in the original Guild Wars, and hell, Magic the Gathering for that matter. I'm the guy that picks the random option in a MOBA. I'm the guy that prefers pugging to playing with an established group, despite having played with many great groups. And why? Because all of these things introduce an element of randomness and puzzle solving that requires adaptability and thinking on the fly, which is so much more enjoyable to me than taking a process and doing it a million times to perfection. I've personally only run across a handful of people who seem to want to play the game when there is no in-game reward involved, and many of that already small group only do so because of a friend asking them for a favor, not because they actually enjoy the content. Following this line of thinking, I'm starting to finally believe that most people play Guild Wars 2 for virtual rewards rather than the enjoyment of the actual game itself, which is such a depressing thought. What makes it even worse is that any truly experienced raider knows that you need nowhere near perfect group comps or gameplay to secure a kill, and yet they still overwhelmingly cling to the meta and then complain about burnout. While there are a few examples of some interesting plays out there, like full healing Tempest groups and using Mesmer portals on Matthias and low-man kills, the overwhelming majority of pugs don't take advantage of this and are unwilling to try anything that might jeopardize their rewards. Even in closed groups of people, the focus tends to be on gearing meta builds to slot into a composition that works well, and while I don't think you have to reinvent the wheel, there are many times where weakness from a player can be easily covered by making some off-meta choices in build and strategy. Additionally, seasoned players can get a lot of extra enjoyment trying out new strategies and builds that, while may not be optimal, can certainly get kills in a fun new way without ever feeling like you're gimping yourself. So, with all that said, I'm going to put my metaphorical money where my very non-metaphorical mouth is and try to shake things up a little bit in the coming weeks. I don't want to give away the whole shebang right now, but let's just say that I might soon have to replace the 1 key on my keyboard. Thanks for listening to my rant, and I'll see you in another video real soon. TM.